Hey Peter, this is Jay Luke. I am the guy who gets on lolz's stream and suggests the platforms map, the jungle gym map that you guys trained on. And I'm also a guy who tried to make sense of a video that Lusfeld used, but yeah, I call it the spin it guy or whatever. He's like, he gets your controller and just spin it. And tried to make sense of like what he was saying, like by balancing a broom. So I like to make videos, or at least this will be my second video, where I'm trying to explain a Rocket League concept using something other than actual Rocket League. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pop this up here. Okay, so I have got a toy car. Kind of looks like a Fennec, but nonetheless, this car is going to help us demonstrate what we're looking. So when we talk about neutral position, when you're flying in the air, it looks very much like this, right? And you can turn by tilting it left or right. But what I want you to think about is like if my body was the car. So what we're going to do is we're going to pretend that the car, like my body is controlling the car, right? So like if I'm on the ground, I would be flat down like this, right? I'm on a right? So like I'm flat down, and when I jump, pop, and then I pull the joystick back, I'm gonna lift the car up. So we're gonna get to like this position right here, right? So on your screen, it would look like, that, right? But we're up in the air. So now the same thing, if I wanted to go left or right, it's gonna look different on this camera, but if I'm going left, if I'm going right, okay. So how does this apply to air roll? This is where you're like, oh, okay. So I'm on a stool, so I can spin around if I wanted to. Like, this would be if you pushed your directional arrow. I guess you're using arrow left. I use arrow right, so this might be a little bit confusing. However, it might not be confusing at all, because I'm not even going to tell you which direction I'm going. I'm just going to kind of give you an idea of. For me, this helps you conceptualize like why you're doing the inputs you're doing, right? So we're down like this, we jump, we pull back on the joystick, we're up, right? Now we have to pick a direction we want to go to, and Losfeld has told you that we can do this by pressing simultaneously boost, the direction up or down, right? And then your arrow, and you're using arrow left. So for instance, if I wanted to go this direction using arrow left, I could press boost, which would make me propel, right? Forward, which is going to lean me down. And then also I'm using arrow left. So that propels me here, right? Now here's what you got to consider. This is why it gets tricky. When you're using continuous air roll, you're going to keep rolling, right? So if you're going to keep rolling, you've got to compensate for this in the way that your controller moves, right? So this is why you end up doing a full clock. So you've got to think about it like, okay, I'm going this way, which would be, it's going to look opposite on the screen, but this is arrow left if I'm conceptualizing this right, and I use arrow right. So I'm pressing forward and arrow left at the same time. That's going to tilt me in this direction, right? And then I'm going to keep rolling. Eventually, I'm going to be like backwards, right? So in order to keep going if I want to keep going like in an upward direction, I'm going to probably correct this by finishing out the clock just to tighten the spin, right? But for me, it's a big deal to understand that, this is kind of how this works. You have to think about it a little bit if you're trying to conceptualize what it is and not just do the algorithm, just like what they say. You want to understand why the algorithm works. It's because when you get turned around, everything gets flip-flop opposite, right? But this is fine because you're using it in a rhythm and you're just going to continue your clock. But, here I am forward, like if I'm going this direction, right? And I'm pressing arrow left, now I have to go backwards and do it, right? So here we are, arrow left. I'm going to press arrow left, And then I've got to press this direction so I can kind of get to here, right? But the car is like this at this point, right? And then I've got to finish out the clock to spin and go this way, right? This may not be working, but you know, I'm doing the best I can here. So try to conceptualize it like that. You remember, like, so if I had to lean forward, again, if I'm going this direction, this would be on my screen. This would be going right, but it's going to look like it's going left on your screen. So pressing forward, arrow left. That's it, right? That turns me this way. That's it. Even one little press will turn me that way. If you keep holding it, you've got to spin, right? And that means your car is going to flip upside down, and we have to like use a clock to get back right. All right, I think that's it. Try to think of it like that.